I was watching this video today, and this young looking black guy is going into McDonald's and Wendy's and different fast food places. And he's asking for LaTarius.
Excuse me, is LaTarius here? Y'all see what they say. I'm finding this today. Texting me talking about where he at. He in Ocean Springs, coming to find you. I'm not playing. I'm not playing by myself. Thugging by myself. Talking about. I'm finna whoop this. I'm not playing.
That's actually not the closest spot.
Okay, I'm not gonna be long.
I understand, but
Excuse me.
just let you know.
Excuse me, ma'am. Is LaTarius here? Is LaTarius here? Okay. Do you know that he just left or something? Like what time?
I don't think he didn't work with him.
Okay.
You his brother, right?
No, I'm not his brother. I think this gave me something. He up here acting like he ain't gay to be gay. And I feel like he gave me something. I'm trying to find him. So that's all I needed.
And apparently this young black guy has acquired HIV from this LaTarius person, allegedly. I think he assumes he got it from LaTarius, but whoever he did get it from, he was definitely looking for LaTarius, and he wanted to fight him. I don't know if his plan was to fight him to the death or what, but he wanted to fight him. And I watched this video on Anton Daniels, and it just kind of reminded me of back in the day when I was in my 20s. There was this place downtown, I forget its exact location, but we referred to it as the county, right? And supposedly, according to my grandmother, the county is where all the people went down when they woke up and felt like they had an STD. But imagine this guy's fear when all of a sudden the doctor calls him back and he says, hey, you're gonna need to let every sexual partner know that you're HIV positive. You're also gonna have to go and get on drugs to keep your HIV at bay so it doesn't become full-blown AIDS. I would imagine that's something sober to hear at any age, but I would imagine if you hear that in your 20s, that is absolutely horrible. What people nowadays don't realize, or maybe they do, is that if you do get HIV nowadays, I think we can all agree you're lucky. Because if you got HIV when I was a teenager, that was considered a death sentence. One of my favorite shows growing up in the day was a show called 21 Jump Street. And they had this one episode, and it's a famous episode because they were the first show to tackle it. But one of the people on the show was a young person with HIV. And back then, I think the average person, once they were infected with HIV, I think they only lived for like a year to 2 years tops. And it was a nasty, gnarly way to lose your life. And so Anton was just trying to say that, hey.
So you're mad at LaTarius. It's always the same people all the time. So you mad at LaTarius and you running up and down every fast food joint that you can find in whatever city that I guess that y'all live in. And you, first of all, you sassy. Secondly, you decided to mess with LaTarius. Third, you work at a fast food joint. Fourth, you don't take responsibility for the fact that you messed around with a guy unprotected and you mad. What do y'all think is going to happen when y'all out here in these streets doing this stuff?
You can be mad at anybody you want, but at some point or another, you have to take responsibility. And the reality is, as you get older, you slowly start to realize most people don't give two shits about you. So you have to love yourself enough to say, you know what? I'm not going to go down that path. And if you are going to be in the sexual Olympics all the time, you got to really use a rubber. You know, back in the day, you didn't use a rubber and you were risking getting someone pregnant. I feel like nowadays, you don't use a rubber, you're literally risking your life. Adina 5202 says, or Adina, excuse me, says this world needs a reset as soon as possible. I think that if there is somebody playing a video game and this is just a simulation, I think they're getting to that point in the game where you purposely try to lose. You guys ever get to that point in a video game where you're playing and you're not really playing it because you have a goal to defeat the game, you're just playing it to pass time. So pretty soon you start doing goofy moves where you lose your life in the game, but you do it anyway because it's fun. Well, sometimes I feel like this simulation we're in, I feel like whoever's running it is starting to let horrible people take over, because that's what it looks like from a video game aspect. Something like the internet, YouTube, and TikTok. You should see stories about young men like this getting HIV, and I've seen pretty girls that'll come on YouTube and say, oh my God, I have herpes. Those are things that like should scare people away from wanting to have rampant sex with strangers. But for some reason, nothing seems to stop us. It's like we're on a train track that's about to go over a cliff, and instead of jumping off or trying to slow the train down, it feels like the train is progressively getting faster. Tell me you agree with me by hitting a thumbs up button. There is some cool stuff says, this channel, speaking about Anton Daniels, covers it all from A to HIV. There's 18,000 plus people with HIV in Philadelphia. There's 40,000 in Atlanta, and there's 44,000 in Houston. It's bad. Now here's the thing that I think is crazy. Every single one of these people is probably still out there having sex with strangers. So whatever the numbers are today, they're gonna be even more tomorrow. So it's like this is progressively getting more and more dangerous. And I find it hard to believe that there's that many people walking around Philadelphia, Houston, and all these various cities that are infected with this disease that, no joke, guys, 15 or 20 or 25 years ago was a death sentence. Those people should be thanking their lucky stars. They shouldn't be thinking, oh, this life is horrible, this world is against me. They should be thinking how lucky I am that I can live such a dastardly lifestyle, and because of modern medicine, I'm able to just continue living that lifestyle. It's very, very selfish. If you're a married person and you're doing the right thing in life, I want you to know I commend you. Look at the world that's outside. Your best bet is to stay inside. Don't go outside. Purple Storm says, I quit dating over 23 years ago. Is that you, Jesse? No, Bob, you son of a bitch. Says, I'm glad. I like being single. I got sick of the drama. Purple Storm, I've been single for a while, but it ain't nothing like 23 years. But I can tell you something. I bet after that 23 years, you did get to the point where you said, hey, people are still crazy out there. I'm going to stay single forever. Who can blame you? At the same time, I hope one of these days you turn the corner and you meet the person of your dreams. I really do. That's one of the things I actually wish for everybody. Maybe that's what we need in this life. Nobody wants a partner because no partners are worth having. But that's kind of what marriage is about anyway. You're supposed to marry one special person because you already know the rest of them are just a dime a dozen jerks. Why don't we value marriage and monogamy a little bit more in this country? It's sad. At Jennifer Klopman says, the life of a homosexual man is shortened by an average of 15 years. So if the average human being lives to be about 75, and the average homosexual male only lives to be, 60, that is sad. Now, if you're born gay and you can't help that you're gay, right, and you're proud of who you are, which you should be, that doesn't necessarily mean this is you. What it does mean is that if this average is true, I think you owe it to yourself to wear protection always. Always wear protection. And if you ever get into a loving relationship with somebody and they're honest with you and they tell you they have HIV, Don't say, okay, well, this is my person, so I'm going to have sex with them unprotected. No, still wear protection. There might be a day in the future that you're not with that person, and you don't necessarily want this disease, even if there's medicines out there that can treat it. Oh. At Warren Godfrey says, this generation blows my mind with the shit they do and they put out for everyone to see. That's the thing that kind of blew my mind. When I was younger, you would not catch anybody except a legitimate crazy person going into a restaurant or a public place talking about how some gay guy gave him a disease. You would just not see that. And if you did see it, it was really a 1 in a million type situation. This guy's blasting his boyfriend on, putting him on blast, putting him on social media, and he doesn't realize he's the one that looks like a fool. I mean, this LaTarius, I don't know who LaTarius is. I didn't see LaTarius. The only fool I saw was this guy. Does anybody else agree? Keep your private stuff private. What is wrong with the world we live in today? Holy moly, nobody has shame. I wish people had shame and guilt nowadays. It could go a long way. I think the problem is we have a world where everybody tries to tell you just to be who you are. Well, if who you are is a bad person that has sex with people and spreads STDs, why in the world would anybody tell you to be who you are? I would urge you to be the opposite of who you are and change. That's what a real friend would tell you. The problem is if parents tell this to their kids will leave and never want to talk to them again. If people tell this to their friend will abandon them and not want to talk to them anymore. We've gotten to the point where no one can be honest. You only want to hear what you want to hear. That's why when people do bad, you hear people say, "Go, Queen," or "Go, King." No, how about we be honest and say, dude, close your mouth, you're embarrassing yourself, go home. Empre 1965 says, once upon a time, shame was a thing. Empre, that is the best comment, because what it tells me is that I'm not the only one that feels this way. Does anyone else agree? If everybody had a good sense of shame for doing idiotic things, if everybody wasn't encouraged to be the bad guy or the easy chick, my God, it's sad when you hear women come on videos and they'll be like, I have a body count of 70, and people are saying, well, you shouldn't judge her for that. If you have a son that is sleeping with a woman that has 70 partners, why wouldn't you judge him and her for that? That's what's so irritating. People tell you, oh, don't judge others. Would you want your son sleeping with somebody that's had 70 partners? Would you want your daughter sleeping with some guy that's had 100 partners? No. That's what's so crazy. We're living in a world where people are telling us good things are bad and bad things are good. It looks a lot like biblical prophecy. We're in those last days where everything is just bizarre and backwards. Ernest Charles says he can't blame anyone but himself. Amen. Hold himself accountable for being a raw doggy man. So there, obviously, Ernest has to put in a little joke, but it's really true. Bro, you were sleeping with another man. You didn't think there's a chance that guy could have slept with other partners? Do you guys remember when we were growing up, people would say, you're not only sleeping with your sexual partner, but you're technically sleeping with everybody they ever slept with. So when you're sleeping with this random LaTarius guy that you met at Wendy's or McDonald's, and that's all you know about him is that he works at some fast food joint, that's you being stupid, and it might actually subtract years from your life. Would I tell him that in person? No. In person, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That's the problem. People always tell you what you want to hear. We need to change that in this world. But still, I'm not the type that's going to say that to people's faces that are complete strangers. Wood 4902 says, several years ago, I believe it was around the year 2020, I saw a street interviewer who was posting at a HBCU, a historically black college or university. He asked a random group of black females, in your opinion, what percentage of black men are gay? Nearly all of the women said 5 out of 10, in other words, half of them. And he thought to himself, ain't no way the number is that high. I saw that same interview and I felt the same way. Fast forward 5 years later, I fear those females may have been right. So there's a weird fetish that I feel is going around the black community, and if you disagree with me, let me know, but it's just what I'm seeing. Ever since I've been young, it seems like it's a rite of passage for them to do a prison or a jail sentence. It's bizarre. I mean, every time they get pulled over for having tint on the windows, they end up doing something weird that catches them a 5 to 10 year sentence. When I was growing up, and a lot of my stories are about when I was growing up, I had such a fear of going to prison because of all the lame shit that men do to other men in prison, that I was going to be on the straight and narrow, and I was never going to do anything that would lead me down a path where I'd have to sleep in a 3x5 cell with another dude. That is a lot of gay energy there, and it seems like black men absolutely love it, and it's bizarre. I saw a video the other day where a guy that's been free said he wanted to go back to prison because he doesn't like living with his wife. How creepy is that? So yeah, maybe we need to let the world know that when you put yourself in a position where you're going to prison, it really has a lot of feminine energy and it's gross. And maybe if we spread that out and share that with people, maybe they'll stop doing these creepy, wrong things, and maybe we can start changing the world. What do you mean, Jesse? I mean, go up to every black guy and tell him you're gonna live in a gay relationship with your cellmate if you don't knock the shit off. Holy shit, Jesse, you said it. I know, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you come back again tomorrow. No, I don't think all black guys are gay, but I think if you're going down a pathway that leads to prison, you realize that means you're gonna live with nothing but dudes, right? That's not exactly the most cool lifestyle, in my opinion. Anyway, hit the thumbs up button if you don't hate me. If you do, hit the thumbs down button, and hopefully come back tomorrow. I'll see you then. Have a good night.